Hello, everybody. I know it's a little bit after the fact. News changes up so quickly these days, but I finally sorted out all my thoughts on this. A couple of events that happened last week, putting them together, and I found the best way to sort out my thinking about them was to write it out. And so I'm probably going to be trying a bit more of this lately. So I'm going to write it. I'm admittedly reading. I was trying to look at teleprompters, like, oh, okay, do I want to get into that technology? Uh, then I found Substack, and I'm actually going to post this on Substack, but it's not there yet. But you guys get a preview. Lucky you. Okay, so here we go. It's about, well, you'll see what it's about. So, wait, what? Kanye West besmirches hard earned free speech gains with his crazy talk. And Lady Susan Hussey asks a wrong question, helplessly setting the stage for Megan's upcoming cringumentary on alleged racism in the royal family. So I asked the question, were both of these setups? Well, let's look at each one in turn. Kanye West has clearly flipped his head, and I feel for him. His claim of loving everyone equally was falsified by his main diatribe on everything Jewish. And the sinister Balenciaga garb that he was wearing sure didn't help his case either. He's a broken soul. And the media should be leaving him alone and leave him to be put back together by people close to him who truly care about him, if any exist. Now, as for Nick Fuentes, I had never heard of him prior to this whole kerfuffle. So I'm sure you all know about Nick Fuentes and Milo Yiannopoulos and Kanye all appeared together on the Alex Jones show. Or no, am I thinking about Tim Pool? Anyway, but as for Milo, who I'm truly confused by his involvement with this takedown attempt of Trump, which Milo himself admitted that it was. But why? Why would Milo do that? Less than a month ago, he was on a Timcast episode singing Daddy's praises and insisting that DeSantis could not and should not run against Trump, that only Trump has the cachet and the courage to drain the deep state. But is even Milo, the MAGA king, corrupted by those who want Trump dumped? The question is, why are they doing this, and who put them up to it? $1 million question. Well, that question is more readily answered in the case of the late Queen's faithful servant, who should, by the way, be reinstated immediately to her former status. Over the weekend, Nana Akua, who I really like, on Great Britain News, she connected the dots for us. So Meghan Markle, friend to Ngozi Fulani, both with BLM ties, plus Meghan and Harry's about to be released documentary series. Well, Fulani was a plant for the very purpose of creating the needed controversy to bolster Meghan's fast plummeting fan base. A false flag. So it was a false flag, the whole thing. So the racism card persists as a key weapon in the war against human freedom. So these aren't just little mini soap opera dramas. These are things at play that are warping the minds of the global population. You know, the ongoing, sustained, perennial self-flagellation of racism, making us think that we have no rights to our countries and no rights to private property and all of that sort of thing. So wokeism, I put wokist gaslighting, is relentless. It's past time to stand up for ourselves, and shame on William for throwing his grandmother's best friend under the bus, which is what he did. It's a fact that traditionally identifiable Brits, i.e., white-skinned British people, now comprise a mere third of the populations of major UK cities such as London, Birmingham, and Manchester. Yet we're to pretend that the brown-black majority is even now subject to rampant racism and oppression. This is beyond absurd. Current globalist overlords, Prime Minister Rishi Sunak and London's Mayor Sadiq Khan, underlie the lie of persistent institutional racism. So, Ms. Fulani, decked out in a confusing mix of ethnic attire, to present her charity that exclusively services, in her own words, women of Caribbean and African heritage, well, she took umbrage at being asked where she was from, and promptly went very public with her indignation. "I am British," she rudely repeated, refusing to engage in what even whites often share about their diverse geographical roots. But Lady Hussey's innocent question broke the code of political correctness. Here's the thing. Contemporary immigrants didn't build the British Empire. They didn't form the hamlets and the villages, nor the city of London. They didn't build and manage the pubs, the theatre, the everyday lifestyles that have for centuries defined what it means to be English or British. Africans of every nation on that continent have their own richly varied ways and habitats, which can, yes, and are celebrated in the UK as subcultures, but should not as legitimate subcultures, but they shouldn't be weaponized to insult and replace the former. That's the point. And I learned this morning that even at the height of the British colonization of India, Brits in residence there numbered not more than 350,000 amongst a population of, at that time, about 169 million. So contrast that with the present situations of Britain and Europe. Do you remember the Dalai Lama, who was loved and much fawned over in the international media until only a few years ago? He was instantly cancelled for his response when asked what he thought about mass immigration in Europe. And he said, "Europe is for the Europeans. Ultimately, the immigrants should develop their own countries." And he said this not out of racism, but out of respect and appreciation for what used to make the world worth living in. That is, a multitude of distinctly different, uniquely fascinating civilizations. Well, as Bob Dylan sang, the times they are a-changing. Yes, times change, but not always for the better. Well, thanks for listening, and please consider subscribing if you like this content. And by hitting the bell when you do that, you'll be notified of each new video I make. I'm planning to do one a week now. And please tell me your thoughts in the comment section on what I've said. Like, do you agree? Do you have other points to consider that I may be blind to? Please put your 2 cents worth down below and like and share this video. And thank you. Bye.